What's up, y'all? Steppenwolf Theater's revival of Fool for Love by Sam Shepard is extended by popular demand through March 23rd. The sexy and haunting play has garnered 4 stars from the Chicago Sun-Times and the Daily Herald, which said, "Now is the time to savor the current moment of Steppenwolf returning to Shepard." Fool for Love is on stage now through March 23rd. Get tickets today at steppenwolf.org.
Executive producer Simone Alicea here, and I want to make sure you don't miss your chance to explore the world of James Bond. 007, Inventing the World of James Bond, is now open at the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry and must close April 6th. Get up close to the iconic cars, gadgets, and props from the Bond films. See how real-world science brings 007's adventures to life, from a prototype jetpack like the one in Thunderball to today's Gravity Industries jet suit. Design the perfect spy vehicle, dangle from a steel beam, and more. For tickets, visit msichicago.org.
Today on CityCast Chicago, maybe you haven't noticed, but Chicago takes St. Patrick's Day seriously. You got the river being dyed, the parades, the bar crawls, and we're just over a week to go, and some tickets going real fast at spots across the city. We decided to break down some of the best ways to enjoy and survive St. Patrick's Day weekend. It's Wednesday, March 5th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Funny enough, our very first episode of CityCast Chicago came out 4 years ago on March 17th, and it was about St. Patrick's Day. We did like a interview from the field back when we was trying to figure out what one episode was. Now we have almost 1,000, and I'm happy to be here with one of my favorite Chicago creators, Paige Serena, to talk St. Patrick's Day 2025. Paige, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me again. I'm happy to be here.
We are happy to have you in the building. Last week, we ran our guide to March in Chicago, and we talked obviously a lot about St. Patrick's Day. And one of our guests, Lee John Greco, talked about how she prefers the South Side Parade to the big one downtown or the one up on the Northwest side. So I wanted to ask you, are you a St. Patrick's Day parade kind of person? Do you get out and go watch the live procession?
What's funny is I've never participated in the actual parade. I've never gone, but we are thinking about going this year. I think we're kind of sending it. We're going to do the full thing, the river dying. I'm like, y'all, we're starting at 8 a.m. this year. Like, if we're going to do it, we have to commit.
Let's start off here. What are some of your tips for how to best experience going downtown if you're going to be down there either during the river or during the parade? What are some of your best tips for people?
You have to mentally prepare for an event like this. It's not just like a going out with your friends on a Saturday. Like, this is, if you choose to make it, can be an all day event. So one of my first tips is get your sleep on Friday, because when I've done this in the past, this has been an early morning event. You're pre-gaming at 9 a.m. You're drinking, definitely want to make sure you have a good breakfast. I'm thinking of doing a little pre-game at my apartment this year where it's just some mimosas, maybe some croissants and pastries, just so we can fill up. Because I think the first time I did St. Patrick's Day officially in college, I did not eat enough. I was out by 12. It was lights out for me by 12 o'clock. So that's one of the first things. Just mentally prepare. It's not a normal holiday. Chicago does not play about their St. Patrick's Day. So definitely prepare for that. Also, I feel when it comes to the river dying, you definitely want to get there early. If you don't actually see it happening, I think just getting there, taking some photos, it's nothing crazy, but it's definitely worth seeing just to say you did it with your friends. Like I said, I have not done the parade, but I think that's probably one of the more mellow parts of the day. I think when you get into the river dying and then starting to go to bar crawls and parties, that's when it definitely gets a little bit more hectic. Just prepare for a lot of people to be in town from out of town. I think that's something that always kind of shocks Chicagoans on holidays, where it's who are all these people? These are not people that live in Chicago. So prepare for that.
If you're out in a crowd of tens of thousands of people, whether you're in Wrigley, whether you're on the South Side, whether you're downtown, and you're not in the right headspace, you already are right. You're already not in a good place, but then your patience meter is so low. And I think my tip is in addition to sleep and that mental preparation, prepare to exert a lot of patience. You're not just in a crowd. You're in a crowd of people who are celebrating potentially being drunk as hell on that day. And so being bumped into might happen. Getting your shoes stepped on might happen. And these aren't things we love, but maybe not wear your age well brand new Joe Fresh is out.
Oh yeah, because you never know. I mean, people are going to be outside wearing tank tops, and it might be 30 degrees. We have no
Exactly.
idea. And I think ever since once I hit 25, I think I kind of viewed drinking a little bit differently. And so when it comes to something like this, I'm like, this is the one day of the year where it's like, you know what, we're about to just turn this up all the way, shots at 8 a.m. So it's like kind of going into it like that. It's like, this is not how we normally drink and go out anymore. But for once, it's every so often and it's something to enjoy. So I'm going into it with that mindset this year.
I got to ask, is you whiskey and green beers at the pregame, or is just you going to keep your mimosas up top and we're going to wait till about 11:30 till we Jaeger bombed up?
We might not even get to Jaeger bombs. I have to keep it cute. I have to know myself at this point. Like, we might be drinking some wine and champagne, to be completely honest with you. But you know what? We'll be there. We'll be there. I don't feel too bad. I'm not Irish. So, whatever allows me to get out and not be sick is what we're going to do. I'll put a green t-shirt on. That's what I got.
I thought you were going to say, I drink a green tea. All right.
We can do that too.
All right. So we've talked about some tips. Get out early, be patient, mentally prepared. Let's talk about some of the events people should think about putting on their calendar.
Yeah. So I know that one thing is like everyone wants to do a bar crawl, and I don't think you just want to do any bar crawl. Of course, there's some in River North, which I actually did. I think we did like a bar and club one a few years ago, and it took us to underground places I would not usually go regularly, but we ended up having a great time. So I do recommend a bar crawl. I think it's fun. Once again, you have to go into it being mentally prepared. But the one that me and my friends are looking into is there's a South Loop St. Patrick's Day crawl. It starts at View Rooftop. I think it goes to Hugh. It goes to a few different places that I was like, okay, this looks a little bit more my speed. It includes admissions to like their after parties. So you have a lineup of events for the day. It's not just one thing. It's not too far, but it's a little bit more out of the mix than being like River North bar hopping. So I think my plan was to be, okay, let's go to the river. Let's go to South Loop and do some hopping. And then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. But I think that would be the one that I recommend. So the South Loop, St. Patrick's Day. But of course, depending on what your vibe is, if you want to be in the action, if you want to be more the midst, the River North one is great. There's a West Loop one as well. So kind of just depends on who your group is, how big it is, and what you guys really want to get into.
Yeah, my big tip, if you're going to do a bar crawl, is one, go with a group of people you really feel comfortable being in the chaos with. Because I remember doing the South Loop one, and there were like 3 bars all on the same block, and you saw people sort of just jumping from line to line, jumping from building to building, stopping traffic, some people like cutting the line just to jump in. And I think the thing that made it the most enjoyable is that I was in a group of like 5 of 6 people. But I will say the bar crawls, like the one you mentioned up in River North, the Irish, you were here, St. Patty's River North Bar Fest, that includes places like Joy District, Tao, yours truly. And if you were doing those by yourself, like you said, it could be a little overwhelming, can be a little bit hectic. The crowds can back up very quickly when you reach that bottleneck point up in River North, or if you're in the South Loop. But I know it's some people listening like, how y'all gonna talk about bar crawls and y'all ain't mentioned the Chicago Shamrock Crawl in Wrigley. Y'all ain't mentioned the Lucky Charms Wrigleyville Bar Crawl. I know that there are some people who are listening who are like, I am not going anywhere for St. Patty's Day other than Wrigley, other than Lakeview.
And that's the thing, though. That's what I really do like about all of the bar crawls in Chicago, even just as a whole. Like, it's pockets of areas for everybody. So it's not for me, but it's going to be packed. If you're younger, you're in college, and like that's, you want to kind of be in that action, 100% I would recommend, to go somewhere like a Wrigley or a Lakeview. Someone that's a little bit more like refined in their taste and where they like to be. I think the South Loop one is great. And then someone that just kind of wants to just be a part of it and be downtown and be central, the River North one I would suggest. So I think it just kind of depends on what you're looking for, but Wrigley's not for me.
remember, you're not just there for the moment. Getting out of wherever you choose to
Ooh.
go, whether it's public transit, whether you park, I hope you didn't go crazy and also park. But whether you park nearby, whether you're taking Uber, Lyft, or public transit, is going to be tough. And so wherever you choose to be, just take that into consideration.
Executive producer Simone Alicea here, and I'm here to tell you time is running out to step into the world of James Bond. 007 Science, Inventing the World of James Bond, is now open at the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry, and it must close April 6th. I had a chance to catch this exhibit in the fall, and I gotta tell you, it was super cool, and you don't want to miss it. This first ever official exhibition explores the science and technology behind the world's longest running movie franchise. Get an up-close look at the iconic cars, gadgets, and props from the Bond films, and discover how real-world science helped create 007's on-screen adventures. See incredible Bond gadgets alongside the real-life inventions they inspired, like a prototype jetpack from Thunderball and today's Gravity Industries jet suit. Test your ability to design the perfect spy vehicle, dangle from a steel beam, devise amazing stunts, and more. Get your tickets today at msichicago.org. That's msichicago.org.
Let's talk about some events that aren't the bar crawl. If people are like, I've been there, done that, did that a few years ago, maybe I just want one place to go to or one event I want to hang my hat on. What's those events for you?
So Kevin White is one of my friends, and he's known, everyone knows Kevin White party, like it's going to be a ball. And so that's where I'll be. Unfortunately, like I was shocked. I was talking to him. I'm like, I know this was crazy. Like, I think he had like 300 plus people in a queue to get tickets. I know people couldn't get tickets. So the good news is I know he's going to do an after party. So just stay on the lookout if you weren't able to secure tickets for that event. I'm looking forward to it, but I think the after party is also going to be dope. So that's where I'll be. But then I know a lot of restaurants actually near the river and around downtown have their own types of events throughout the day. And I have not gone myself personally, but I know people that went to, like, for example, Pizza Portofino last year and really enjoyed, went to RPM Seafood. So, I mean, you're sitting right there. You have the view of the river, and then they have like DJs and, different things that are included in your ticket admissions. And then one place I always just throw out, it's going to be hectic, but if you really want to get in the spirit of, St. Patrick's Day, I recommend going to Emerald Loop. It's downtown. It's like on Wacker and Wabash. I actually used to work there. I was a host for a year or so. And so that's just a place for me where I'm like, okay, this is an Irish bar done right. The food is decent. They gonna have drinks all day. They open
The
to like
Guinness
2 or
pint's gonna be
3. Yeah.
floating. Yeah.
So if you're just kind of looking for a place to just kind of, wander to, if the weather's not too cold and you have to wait outside for a table or something like that, that would be a place that I would recommend. I mean, that's just like the epitome of St. Patrick's Day.
Some of the breweries in the city, like the Guinness Open Gate Brewery, they're going to have live music, food, and more. Of course, Chicago's Irish bars, whether you're talking about Chief O'Neill's or you talk about Miss Murphy's and Sons, they're also going to be doing things as well. And so our friends over at Choose Chicago have put together a huge list of bar and restaurant specials as well. You were talking about Kevin earlier and like putting on your own events. People might have heard that name from like the Red Room, another event that can sell out if you're not familiar. It feels like Chicago celebrating more and more individuals who are like curating their events. I think about Slow Jams. I think about the Red Room. We're going to talk about R&B and Roulette later. What is it like to see more of those growing in the last couple of years?
I think it's dope. And I actually made a video on this the other day where it's like, I think a lot of people, and this, I'm talking about people that are recently moving to Chicago, right? And they come from different places like maybe Atlanta, New York, LA, Miami, and they have this understanding of what going out culture looks like in their city. And I just always have to preface, I'm like, this is not that. Like, Chicago is very different. One, we're very bar forward, which I personally really love. And so that can make it difficult when it comes to like finding a place to get a section or like not so much where to get a section, but it's like, where can I get a section and hear good music and have a good time with my friends? And it's not too expensive. And it's like putting all of those things together gets difficult. I think what I really like about more of these curated events, one, it allows you to kind of just tap in with the community a little bit more. You know who's going to be there, what kind of demographics they're putting on. They can change locations and venues, which is always fun. I think something that's really interesting about it is we see like also with like concert culture right now, it's like the demand for like releasing tickets and just kind of like almost like an exclusivity type of thing. And I think with the events and getting tickets for things like that kind of brings the exclusivity back in a way that is more attainable. Like you can get tickets for these events. It's not impossible. You just have more of a structured itinerary of what's going to be done. And for me, that's great because I know in like 2 weeks, I'm going to this event and I don't have to necessarily plan for it and figure out what are we doing today, y'all? It's kind of just put in front of you. And as long as you're following the right folks, the right curators, the right DJs, it just makes it a little bit easier, I think, to manage. And then you kind of know it's going to be a good time.
Let's talk a little bit more about your event that you got coming up that is kicking off in some ways the St. Patrick's Day week. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so I'm doing my third R&B and roulette. I call it R&B and roulette because it's an afternoon, just a chill time with just some R&B beats, some rap, of course, sprinkled in there. And then the roulette is a wine roulette, which is like my favorite part. I just absolutely love it. Basically, everyone brings a bottle of wine, their favorite bottle of wine. They give it to my bartenders when they get there. And that's basically their entry to just get unlimited wine for the rest of the event. They can go back up, say, hey, let me try like a sweet white, or hey, let me try an orange wine or something like that. It's at the Vault Gallery in Pilsen. We've got some vendors that I actually haven't announced yet, but now that they're confirmed, I can start to speak about who I'm going to be having. I have Migos Fine Foods. They are Black-owned halal restaurant. Their food is just so good. We also have Kodo Hibachi. They're out in Bridgeport, another Black-owned spot. Looking forward to having them. And then I just secured Bronzeville, Hoagie, and Panini. So there's a few tickets still available. So if anyone's looking to come, definitely come join us this Sunday, March 9th. It's going to be a great time.
You're also going to have DJ Cash Era in the building, who we had on the show a couple of months ago to talk about her busy schedule and how she does what she does when she pulls up. So we appreciate DJ Cash Era as well.
The best.
We will drop a link to all of the events that we talked about in today's episode. We'll definitely drop a link to R&B and Roulette in our show notes page. We appreciate you making time for City Cast Chicago again.
Thank you so much for having me. Cannot wait to come back.
Before we get out of here, make sure you bookmark our website, chicago.citycast.fm. There you can subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago, check out our packed events calendar, catch up on old podcast episodes, and more. Of course, I got some good news for you. I got one more event for you during next week's festivities. I'm going to be featured at Welcome to the Show, a live talk and variety show hosted by Derek Bish at the Getaway off Lincoln and Wilson in Lincoln Square. They also going to have comedian Sam Roca, comedian Dairy Queen, Al Scorch in the building. So y'all, please pull up on us. Get there by 7:30 because seats do go fast. Show going to start at 8 o'clock. As always, we appreciate you for listening and reading. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Peace.